Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone had a great weekend and have been working really hard. We only have a couple more days left before the holiday break, so just keep working hard and trying your best, and we are almost to the break. So today we're here to read our first story of the week, and I love this story. It's pretty funny. It's got some really cool characters in it and some really nice pictures. So what we're going to be talking about this week for our standard is what is the message or the lesson that the author is trying to teach us in the story. So today's story and our next story for this week are both by the same author, and they kind of go along with each other. So today's story is called Tacky the Penguin, and our author is Helen Lester, and our illustrator is Lynn Munsinger. Now, our next story at the end of the week is also going to be about Tacky the Penguin. So we're going to have two stories this week that talk about Tacky. And as we read these stories and as you listen to these stories, I want you to be thinking about what our author, Helen Lester, what kind of lesson is she trying to teach us using Tacky to teach us that lesson? I want you to look at the cover, okay, before we start. So this here is Tacky the Penguin. Okay, I want you to think about that word tacky. What does that word tacky mean? You might have heard it before. You might have seen it in books. What do you think the word tacky means? Then I want you to look at the other characters. What do you notice about the other characters? So our main character here is Tacky, and Tacky is going to help us to learn a lesson. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn it to the back cover. Here's some other characters in our story. Okay, here's our other characters, and here's Tacky. What do you notice about Tacky, and how is he different than the other penguins? I'm going to read this little summary for you. It says, Tacky the Penguin does not fit in with his sleek and graceful companions, but they find his differences less annoying when his odd behavior saves the day. All right, so we already know now from this summary that Tacky is going to save the day, but his behavior throughout the story is going to be a little bit odd. So I want you to take a couple seconds. How do you think Tacky is going to save the day? And what kind of behaviors do you think he might have that are a little bit odd? Remember, as I read today, if there's a little post-it, I want you to stop and pause the video and take some think time to really think about those questions that I'm asking you. All right? And also, I want you to be thinking about what Helen Lester is trying to teach us by using Tacky as this main character. What lesson are we going to learn from this story? All right, Tacky the Penguin. Got Tacky here. Doing a little cartwheel, looks like. All right. There once lived a penguin. His home was a nice, icy land he shared with his companions. Let's look at Tacky here and where he lives. What do you notice about the nice, icy land? What do you notice about the land? I also want you to think about this word companions. The word companions means friends, okay? So he's living here with his companions. His companions were named Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect. His name was Tacky. Tacky was an odd bird. So here we have Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect. Then we have Tacky. Okay? All right, we have a post-it note here. So it says the word tacky can mean not well dressed, kind of messy, or not polite. Let's say the names of the other penguins. Let's think about the names of the other penguins again. Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect. How does Tacky's name sound different than all of these other names? Every day, Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect greeted each other quietly and politely. So we see them bowing and kind of waving, shaking their fins, I guess, not their hands. Tacky greeted them with a hearty slap on the back and a loud, "What's happening?" So we've got them all greeting each other quietly and politely. Then there's Tacky. So let's think about the word hearty. It said he greets them with a hearty slap on the back. The word hearty means full of energy. How might a hearty slap on the back look or sound? Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect always marched. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tacky always marched. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 6, 0, 2.5, 0. His companions were graceful divers. Tacky liked to do splashy cannonballs. So here we have his companions, and then there's Tacky. Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect always sang pretty songs like Sunrise on the Iceberg. Tacky always sang songs like, How many toes does a fish have? Tacky was an odd bird. So let's think about that word odd. So odd can mean different. What do you think we've learned about Tacky so far? How is he odd, or how is he different than his companions? And what do you think the other penguins are thinking and saying about Tacky? One day, the penguins heard the thump, thump, thump of feet in the distance. This could mean only one thing. Hunters had come. So he's listening to the thump, thump, thump. Take a look at their faces. How do you think the penguins are feeling when they hear that thump, thump, thump? They came with maps and traps and rocks and locks, and they were rough and tough. As the thump, thump, thump drew closer, the penguins could hear the growly voices chanting. We're gonna catch some pretty penguins, and we'll march 'em with a switch, and we'll sell 'em for $1 and get rich, rich, rich. Uh-oh. So the stick hunter here, he's the stick hunter. Why do you think he has a stick in his hand? It can also be called a switch. What is scary about this? What looks scary about this? If you were a penguin, why might you be scared of these hunters? Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect ran away in fright. They hid behind a block of ice. So Tacky didn't run away, but all of the other penguins ran away and hid behind the ice. What do you think might happen next? Tacky stood alone. The hunters marched right up to him, chanting, We're gonna catch some pretty penguins, and we'll march 'em with a switch, and we'll sell 'em for $1 and get rich, rich, rich. Look at Tacky. What do you think Tacky might do? Remember, all of his companions are hiding behind the block of ice. And then there's little old Tacky and the hunters. What do you think Tacky might do? What's happening? blared Tacky, giving one hunter an especially hearty slap on the back. They growled. We're hunting for penguins. That's what's happening. So, do we think that Tacky realizes what's going on here? He greets them just like he would greet his companions, with a hearty slap on the back, and says, "What's happening?" "Penguins," said Tacky. "Do you mean those birds that march neatly in a row?" And he marched. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 6, 0, 2.5, 0. The hunters looked puzzled. Let's look at the hunters' faces. What is another word for puzzled? If I said the hunters were puzzled, what do you think that means? "Do you mean those birds that dive so gracefully?" Tacky asked. And he did a splashy cannonball. The hunters looked wet. "Do you mean those birds that sing such pretty songs?" Tacky began to sing, and from behind the block of ice came the voices of his companions, all singing as loudly and dreadfully as they could. "How many toes does a fish have, and how many wings on a cow? I wonder, yep, I wonder." Let's look at the hunters. How are they feeling? The hunters could not stand the horrible singing. This could not be the land of the pretty penguins. They ran away with their hands clasped tightly over their ears, leaving behind their maps and traps and rocks and locks, and not looking at all rough and tough. So let's look at the hunters. They're all running away. Do you think the hunters are going to come back? How do you think the other penguins are feeling now? So here's Tacky watching the hunters run away, and here's all the other penguins. They're not hiding anymore. How do you think they're feeling now? Goodly, lovely, angel, neatly and perfect, hugged Tacky. Tacky was an odd bird, but a very nice bird to have around. The end. Now let's think about that last page for a second. Tacky was an odd bird, which we already knew from the beginning, but he was a nice bird to have around. What do you think Helen Lester means by that? He was odd, but he was nice to have around. Why do you think he was nice to have around? Let's think about that. I also want you to remember from the beginning, I said that our standard this week was going to be talking about the author's message, or the lesson that Helen Lester is going to try to teach us. What do you think the lesson in this story was? What did Tacky teach you? He's definitely an odd bird, but he did teach us a lesson, and I think he taught the other penguins a lesson as well. I want you to think about that as we move into our writing. All right, so you should have a writing assignment that looks like this. It says totally tacky writing at the top. This is going to be a fun writing today. So it says, if you could spend a day with Tacky, what would you two do? Write about your day together. Now, I don't want you to just write one sentence or two sentences. I want you to really think about if you and Tacky got to spend a whole day together. What would you guys do? I want you to challenge yourself to try to write all of those lines. Try to fill up your whole paper. And even if you would like to, on the back, you can draw a picture of what you and Tacky would do. Okay? So if you want to go back and listen to the story again, it's a quick story. okay? And kind of remind yourself the things that Tacky likes to do, okay? And then write about what you and Tacky would do on your day together. All right, good luck. Make sure you use your very best handwriting. Remember to use your finger spaces, capital letters at the beginning of sentences, punctuation at the end. And I also want you to challenge yourself to use different sentences. Some sentences might be telling me something, so they will have a period. But sometimes you might ask questions, and they should end with a question mark. Or maybe you and Tacky are doing something exciting. And in that case, you'll end your sentences with an exclamation mark. All right, I'll see you guys on Thursday for another Tacky Read Aloud. Have a great day and have fun with your writing. See you guys.